How you doing? Welcome to the System Unfiltered. Here with Chinatown Gang Stories, right? Mike Moy, good to see you.
Good to be here, Steve.
We're here to basically talk about the job, NYPD, right? What's your
Yeah.
experiences on it? What's your outtake on it? Do you think that it's safe to say NYPD is a gang?
In my opinion, I think anything can be labeled as a gang. I mean, you can have a small clique in the office in the private sector, 3 or more is a gang, right? Populations, the government, countries, you can label anything as a gang.
Well, like, all right. So let's let the audience know, like, what did they do to you when you were on NYPD? Because you had a lawsuit. You sued them, right? You had a lawsuit against them.
Yes, that was in 2019
Okay. So what happened? Like,
when I filed the lawsuit.
are you allowed to talk about it?
You know what? Am I allowed to? I guess I can talk about it, but there's really no need to talk about it.
Well,
You know,
we don't need names or anything, but we just like the gist of what happened. It was basically racism, right?
The thing is, the case got settled recently. Actually, it just got settled last week. So
Okay.
after like 6 years in court, so I'm happy with the results, and I guess we just let the past be the past. We
Right.
can talk about other things. I'm satisfied with the outcome. So we'll talk about other things.
The point. All right. So my experience with the NYPD, right? Since you don't want to talk about it, but you could agree or not agree. But my experience with the NYPD, Asians are working against the grain. Meaning it's harder for an Asian to become a chief, right, or get promoted. It's harder for Asian to, get grade as a detective, right? It's harder for when you're being punished, they kind of like punish you more, like the union doesn't back you up because you're Asian, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like the societies, the clubs, like, I don't want to mention their names, but the Asian societies and clubs, they don't really like stick their neck out for you.
Based on my personal experience, and that's what I see,
Uh-huh.
what I observed, I think that's pretty much on point.
Okay, so there is racism in NYPD. When people are saying, "Oh, the NYPD is racist as an entity," I don't think the NYPD.
I'm not saying like everyone's a racist. There's a
Right.
lot of good people in
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
NYPD, and even though what happened to me, there was a lot of good people who came up to me and showed me the support. I mean, you know how it is.
Yeah, yeah.
If they do it like subtly,
Right.
that
They
they're
try to help you in
support-
the background.
Yeah, and I really appreciated that. But for them to be open about supporting me, it would bring them heat as well. So
Right.
it's hard to
I
describe
understand.
the
They
situation
didn't want to
unless
stick their
you're
neck out for
unless
you.
you're part of that system. You're not gonna understand. I
Right. So
mean,
what is that system? Explain the system to us. Explain the game, the rules of the game. Because ever since I became a
In
cop,
any
they're like,
big-
play the game, play the game.
in any big organizations, the rules of the game, you just learn to as you go. Just like in the military, the same thing. There's
Right.
things that go on in the military that the civilians wouldn't understand unless they're in it, part of it.
Right.
And just like the politician, there's rules of the games of being a politician as well.
Right. Absolutely. I learned that the hard way. Yeah.
So you learn as you go along. And me being in that big organization for over 26 years, I learned over the years.
Right. So what rank? Just so you let the viewers know, like what rank did you rise up to?
Detective 3rd grade,
Okay. And
which is the lowest grade.
which is the lowest grade. Now, why do you feel like you never got promoted? Because I'm pretty sure you done outstanding work, right? Because how long were you a detective for?
Well, based on my time in rank and the amount of cases I've handled and the amount of arrests I've made, on paper I should be promoted.
Right. To what grade do you think?
I mean, think about it. There's some people with 3 years as a third grader and get promoted with
There's people I knew.
a fraction of the amount of arrests that I've made. And so I did 17 years
Right.
in the same rank
And
as
you
a
only stay
detective.
at third grade.
Exactly. So how do you explain something like that? If you're like the chief's son,
Right. Of course, you can get promoted faster.
your chance of getting promotion.
Right. So it's
to a
about who you
detective-
know. So
It's who you know.
From my experience, I knew rookies, meaning like around the 5-year mark or
You
less.
know what? The system's been in place for so many years, so many decades. Is it going to change? Nepotism will still be there.
Absolutely.
You can go back.
It's expected.
You could go back 5,000 years.
Right. It's expected.
Ever since civilization.
Yeah. It's
took place.
expected though, but
So-
it's just a matter of
It's going to be there. Are we still going to allow it? Is the younger generation who's working for the NYPD now, when they become a chief, or when they become, they're in a position where they can implement changes, are they just going to follow the previous generation?
right.
You know, or are they going to make some changes? For example, maybe, a certain amount of arrest you make as a detective, a certain amount of time in rank, take into account the amount of sick time, if you don't abuse it. You could take a lot of factors and just use that as a
Right,
chart.
qualifications,
Yeah,
yeah.
as a
Merit.
checklist
To get promoted on
to
merit
get promoted.
instead.
Yeah, how many felony arrests you've made,
Right.
as opposed to someone who made 5 arrests in their whole career, and someone who made 500 felony arrests and still don't get a promotion to second grade detective. So, I mean,
No, I definitely think that you were cheated, right? And that's what I was trying to say. I seen rookies with people with less than 5 years become a detective, get their gold shield, and in the same year get second grade.
I mean, what do you want me to say about that? I mean, it is what it is.
You know,
That's
and-
it. Is it, that's life.
Yeah, it was
You know,
astonishing to me. So
There's fair and there's unfair.
right. So I agree. Yeah, there's always going to be nepotism in any organization, right? Because it's expected. It's like, oh yeah, talk to your uncle. Your uncle is so and so of whatever. He can help you out. But what I have a problem with is nepotism where it hurts people who are actually putting in the work and deserve it, and they're not getting promoted now because of that nepotism. That's what happened
Come
to
on,
you.
it's
right?
not just the NYPD. It's everywhere.
Yeah, that's what I said. Or
You
any
could
organization.
be working for Apple or Amazon. It's the same thing.
Right. But that's the same thing with gangs too. No? If you're in a gang and I'm closer with the boss, with the Dilo or whatever, of course he's gonna favor me to promote me in the ranks or let me get away with certain stuff than some regular person, right?
The only difference what I see now is more and more people are coming out exposing it. Back then, you rarely ever see
Yeah, of course.
anyone exposing it anywhere above middle management,
Right, of course.
captain and above.
Yeah, it's the blue whale silence. Yeah.
It was usually the people at the
Right.
bottom.
Yeah.
The
There-
detectives and the cops.
but
But
the-
now, lately, you have chiefs coming out. You have
Commissioners.
exposing the NYPD. So
Yeah.
I mean, it goes to show you, times are changing.
Yeah. So what we're saying is you could check the news now and you could see there was an intern police commissioner, Thomas Donlan. He's saying that the NYPD is run like a criminal organization. He put in a RICO civil case, right, against NYPD. And you have a deputy commissioner that used to work for the Department Advocate's Office. The Department Advocate's Office are the people that do the internal trials in NYPD, and she's coming out also saying that the trials are tainted because it's influenced by higher ups than her, right, to protect certain people and to prosecute others, right. The only problem that I had with them coming out to speak about it is that they didn't come out to speak about it until they became a victim of it. They also helped the system enact that on other people, right, other officers. And then when it happened to them, when they get a taste of their own medicine, now all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's a problem. What do you think?
I've been too busy lately, so whatever you're telling me now is new to me.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't know?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so there's
But that's surprising. I mean, yeah, like you said, it
yeah,
happened to them. It affected them, so that's why
Yeah.
they came out. And now I wonder, like, what about all the people
right now
below
when,
you?
when they were
How
when they were
about
going
how
against
about
you or when they
yeah,
were going against me,
exactly.
did they take part of that? And then like
Oh,
now,
they were part of the system at that time, right?
right? So my thing with this, right?
If it didn't affect them personally, and it affects someone at the bottom, would they stand up and say, "Wait a minute, this guy is
Well, there was an
getting unfair
experiment.
treatment or whatever"?
There-
Would they step out and protect the people at the bottom?
So there was an experiment, right, where they had a person giving electric shock to somebody whoever gave the wrong answers and stuff like that, and they would be like, "Oh, this is wrong. Is he gonna be okay?" And then there was like a superior, a supervisor saying, "Don't worry about it. It's on me if anything happens to him." And then they kept on giving the shock, kept on giving the shock, right? So it shows that it's the same thing where this system is set up, right? So you have the deputy commissioner, you have the commissioner, or you have the chief, or a cop, or a sergeant, or a lieutenant, and they're like enacting it, and they're like, "Wait a second, this is kind of wrong. Are we okay with doing this?" And then the higher up would be like, "Don't worry about it. I'm telling you to do it. I'm ordering you to do it," right? And that's what makes them think that it's okay to do it. So my thing is not really the players of who's corrupt, it's the game. The system is set up that way, is to be corrupt, right? Because if it is set up to protect itself, right? So if it doesn't
You work in
continue,
IAB, so you know.
yeah,
You know,
IAB
the main job for IAB is basically
cover up.
PR control.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, smoke and mirrors. Everybody in IAB
And
said
I'm
that.
not in IAB, and I already see their tactics and what they do.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So
Everybody in IAB, you guys could agree with this. You always say, "Oh, smoke and mirrors," right? Whereas like something happens, and they do damage control.
and they will cover up.
Right. They will either
do
cover up if they,
whatever is necessary to protect their image.
not just that, cover up whoever knew somebody up top. If a chief called and said, "Oh, this guy is good," close the case out.
I'm just telling you the basics.
All right. I'm
You're
telling you what I
you're
saw.
Getting into details.
Yeah, I'm telling you what I
I'm not gonna
saw.
get into details, but
Well, I'm not afraid to say it. So, what
you-
happened was, if the chiefs know somebody, they'll make a phone call and they'll literally call the investigator, and the investigator will be like, "Okay, how you doing, chief?" And he's like, "Yeah, this guy's a good guy. Let's close it out." And then they'll close it out, or they'll call the lieutenant, the team leader, and the team leader will come and be like, "All right, we got to go out and do a test on this guy, and we're gonna close out this case. We got a call from the chief." And then they know, okay, we got to give him an easy test that he could pass, and then we'll close it out, unsubstantiate it, stuff like that. That's what happened. But
That's your opinion.
the opposite also happened. I seen the opposite happen where it was like, test him again, keep testing him until you find something. If the chief doesn't like you, they do the opposite. So to me, that was it seemed like a criminal organization at that time, because it was like, if you spoke out about them or whatever, they use any types of tactics to either to dirty you up, make your record look bad, make it look like you're a bad cop, you're insufficient, you're
Yeah.
just disgruntled and stuff like that.
That
and
I've
then
experienced.
and then they
personally.
bring the lawsuits in.
The thing is, that's what happened when you police your own with no outside supervision.
Right. Which is why there's
No.
another point I wanted to bring up was you can't have cop watching cops. It's a conflict of interest. Right. So you said that happened to you too. Can you talk about what happened?
Nah, I prefer not to. My case is settled already, and I'm just gonna put that behind
Okay.
me. And
I'll talk about what happened to me, and then you could tell me like your opinions on it. Right. So what happened to me was I went undercover. Right. The reason why I went undercover was because my lieutenant wanted to put fake rape charges on my commanding officer. I felt that was crossing the line. That was bad, right? So I told the commanding officer. He then told internal affairs, and then they asked me to go undercover, get that in recording. Then I found out that there was a wider spread of corruption, similar to what the ex-commissioner Caban and his brother was doing, where it was they had a security company set up, and it was like, if you don't use our security company, you're gonna get harassed or whatever and stuff like that. And if you do use our security company, you'll get the heads up on raids and all those other stuff. You'll get benefits, right? And they did that in the 109 precinct in Flushing for the karaoke's, for the bars, and for businesses too, like supermarkets or whatever, and malls and stuff like that.
And that's why I stay away from the karaoke's. You know, karaoke's, bars, and cops don't mix. Go to a family type style bar
Right.
instead of going to a bar where there's like
But here's
PR
the thing, though.
girls and
In
sports
those,
betting and shady characters in there.
right.
It doesn't mix. Cops and those type of bars don't mix.
It definitely does it.
And I can count in one hand how many times I've been to those type of establishments in my 26-year career. All right, and I can tell you that in 26 years working for the NYPD, I've been to other countries more than I've been to Manhattan's Chinatown.
Okay.
You
So
know,
you stayed away from it.
I stay away from
No,
places
what's the reason?
that may be a conflict of interest, that may
Okay.
get me jammed up, or
Okay.
that doesn't do me any good.
Right.
You know.
So I'm
I
going
mean,
to talk about the cops that
there's-
didn't stay
like
away
I said,
from it.
there's nothing good can come out of it.
Right.
you know.
So I'm going to show you what happens, what comes out of it if you don't stay away from it. In my situation where I was investigating these cops, they loved the karaoke's. And in the karaoke's,
I've been invited to so many places over the years. As a cop, everyone, hey, come out, let's have some drinks or whatever. I'm not a person who's a drinker anyway. Like, I'll have a drink at a restaurant. And that's about it. I mean, but if I'm away in another country, yeah, I'll drink. Because, I feel safe drinking in a place where I don't need to drive. I don't have to worry about, I got to drive home. My hotel is right there.
Right,
Or I
right.
could, drink in the hotel with my friends. And don't have to worry about getting so drunk that, like, I'll
Right.
be unfit
For
for
you,
duty,
like-
because you're a cop 24/7.
right. For you, your past, right? Did you keep in contact with those people, or you had like just cop friends, new friends? Like when you were hanging out, you just hung out with your new friends? Did you like, I can't talk to
You
you because I'm a
mean-
cop now? There's conflict of interest and stuff like that?
Yeah, my childhood friends. I had to cut my ties with them.
Right, of course. Right.
But sometimes you bump into them, and if
Right.
they invite me to go somewhere,
And you have to turn them down.
I have to turn them down and say, hey,
Yeah.
we'll circle back when I'm retired.
Yeah.
And then
right.
they understand.
Right, of course.
And they're not going to put me in that position.
Right, of
you know,
course.
because
they're your
they-
true friends, yeah.
And like my channel, Chinatown Gang Stories, those are all my childhood friends.
Right.
And you know what? They're still there.
Right. Because
After
they
all these
understand
years.
that there's a
Yes.
fence and they can't cross the line and stuff like that.
Yes.
And they're
So-
going to get you in trouble. They don't want to do that.
Yeah, they don't want to do that to me.
But these cops that I arrested, that hung out in the karaoke's, the gangs run the karaoke's, right? There was a lot of drugs going on, prostitution. The cops were hanging out with the gangsters and stuff like that, with the Dailos, of course, not the Lang Dais, but mostly the Dailos and stuff. They were hanging out with them. They were paying them off. They were doing drugs in the room with them and stuff like that, right? And when I tried to expose that, they only want to isolate the situation. Whereas like IAB, you said they're about PR control, right? Damage control. So they didn't want it to make it come out like a big corruption scandal. And what they did was they just isolated it. And what's worse was they tried to make it seem like it was just a Chinese cop thing, right? Where it wasn't. Because the Chinese cops, we know they don't have power. There's nobody up top that can protect them that's Chinese, right? So it was mostly like the wife chiefs and stuff like that. They were getting free dinners or donating.
You're referring to white shirt immunity, basically.
Right.
That's a term that's common in the NYPD.
Right. And I even got a recording before from the Department Advocate's office where one of the Department Advocates was even saying it. Yeah, this white shirt immunity, we only get to prosecute whatever they give us and stuff like that, and it's unfair, but whatever the case is, this is the gang structure that I'm talking about. I'm trying to expose the gang structure or paint a picture of, why you say NYPD is a gang. Look, there's a lot of great cops out there. This is only like 1% of the cops that maybe like control it and have that gang mentality, right? There's a lot of cops. Majority of the cops just want to go in, do their
You
job,
can
and go
label
home.
anything as a gang, like I said. You can label a religion as a gang.
Right.
You know, it could be a good gang doing good things or a bad gang doing bad. So
Right.
anything could be labeled as a gang.
Now, back in the day, did you have gang members that try to do the right thing, like
Of course,
help
you know,
people out?
Of course, there are gang members that has certain set of values,
Right.
morals.